Let's talk about what if you want to use your own character in this mockup. To every After Effects project file that you can find here belongs a PSD file in which you can find all the body parts for the After Effects characters organized in layers. You can find these here in the footage folder, and within that in the Bob, Steve, and also in the files that belong to them. All of the files are called model sheet because this way we can mount them easily into all of the After Effects files. If we open, for example, Bob's model sheet, which I've opened before in Photoshop, we can see more sides of the character: face expressions, hand positions, and a little tutorial for you, which is the same in all of them. This could help you while you're editing your own character. Now, I'm going to turn this off for a while. We can look into it a little bit later. Here we can see all of them organized into folders properly. Unfortunately, this is a layer system that you have to follow as well. So all of the layers have to have the same name as you can see it here. Otherwise, the After Effects won't read them automatically into the composition. Therefore, it's really important to keep these rules. If you happen to make any kind of mistake, you don't need to worry. You can correct them in the After Effects later, so there isn't much of a problem with it. But it's better to pay attention. If you look here, you can see this body belongs there. Or in this slide, you can see the head belongs there. You can design your character in two ways. You either erase the content of the layers. For example, you take this body and erase it, and then you start drawing your own little body. Or you start working in an empty Photoshop file. In the resources folder, you can find a black model sheet. If you open this in Photoshop, I've opened it beforehand, you can see a completely empty template, which is only waiting for you to fill it. Here, all the layers are at their place. Everything is in order, so you can draw here as you wish. I recommend that you make all the characters in one piece. Then you take them apart to pieces according to the layer structure, and that's probably the quickest way of doing it. Another important thing is, we can see we have everything here. I'm going to take small steps back in time. You can see we have everything, but it's not so important to make everything, because it's possible you won't need it, that your character won't ever use that pose. So it's kind of meaningless. If you look at this, for example, here among the project files, there's this little monster or alien character whom I've opened before in Photoshop. You can see him here. I've designed him, so I won't have him in every view, and you can save lots of time with that. For instance, if you don't make a side view and the third, fourth of the back view and the head positions belonging to them, obviously you can spare lots of time with it. So if you don't need your character to be in all four views, then don't bother with it. Just leave the layers empty. It is highly important to leave this empty. You can see here that in the side view the layers are just empty, because this way After Effects won't miss these layers. It won't give you errors. In fact, it won't really use them. Now we can see I brought it into the After Effects. These are Bob's animations. They are here in PSD files. If I override them, they will automatically swap out as well. Now, let's imagine that you want to have Steve with your designs, and you want those parts to be in the After Effects. If you open him in Photoshop, you can see his body parts. Here, The reference for setup is really important. It can help you a lot when you're going to set up the character. It is very important. The front will come from this. You will design this, and when you have the body parts of the characters, you'll duplicate these, and let's say you'll convert to Smart Object, and the same thing that we've already made will come here. This will be here, and we'll use this so we can set up our character later. The head works the same way that you can find in Head 1. You'll have to duplicate it and then put it here. You do the same in the third for back view. You duplicate it, convert to Smart Object, and bring it here to the side view. Then let's say duplicate, convert to Smart Object, and bring it up here. We can delete these. We don't need the copies, and here we have these 4 files. We'll need them here. I'm going to rasterize just to be safe, because there might be some problems with the smart objects in the After Effects. It depends on the version. That's why it's not a good idea to use that. It's better if you rasterize everything. So you take these, and you will need these references as well for the After Effects. That's why there's an underscore, because that's not necessarily important. Now we can do the PSD file exchange. I'll turn off this Bob and override the model sheet. In the animation underscore Bob and say Egan, sorry for the Hungarian language, I'm updating it. I'm going to come to After Effects and whoops, there are supposed to be completely different files, but nothing happened yet. You will need to restart the After Effects file. How about we open recent projects and animations? Bob Animations, don't save. And you can see it now that Steve's body parts are loaded. Steve is a little bit apart right now. It's not a coincidence. The odds are different in the two characters, but we'll help it just in a second. We must restart the whole thing with a character setup. You can find this character setup in the character setup part, and we'll have to go over all of it and set them first. Now I'm going to open the Head 1. You can see here's the reference. The reference is important because you can set things with this. You take these, and the only thing you'll need to do is to put them to their places. Whether your character's basic shape is in its right place. If not, then you'll have to make changes according to that. But then again, it's really important. Then you'll need to set things to their places. Left sclera. This 3 belongs together. You can position it with this left sclera and the right side too. Move, move, about now. And a nose. Let's say here. And we're done with this. Let's do the head too. You'll have to do the same thing over and over again. Let's change it so that the hair is good too. After you set the basic shape, you can do the nose. Left eyebrow, right eyebrow, left sclera, and right sclera, and the position of the mouth. Now we can do the third. Change this a little bit. Now it's at its right place. Nose, right eye, and the mouth position is set as well. In Head 4, there's only a picture, which will be good like that. Left arm states. Okay, it's really important that this body part has to be in the middle, just like this. You can scale it if you need it, because of course some characters have longer arms than it's supposed to be. You can position them here nicely. Then you'll need to pay attention that some layers aren't overlapping each other, because that could be a problem. We can see these two are in the right place, but the rest, they aren't. Let's take the rest to their place. You really don't need to be precise here. In fact, don't be. So this all is still okay. You should remember these states, because they will be important later. We scaled the left arm by 95%. Left hand states. We can see they jump all the way around, because Bob's hand settings were way too different. We can modify this the fastest way if you press Ctrl and the right arrow and position it. Let's do it again. Ctrl and right arrow, and you can see only this layer here. Here you can position it as you wish. You press Ctrl, right arrow, and skip by one on the timeline and position it. Easily, I'm just going to take all and position them by setting the scale to 217, and it immediately adopted this value, so the hands are at the same place now. If the hands look different in all of them, then position all of them one by one. I think it's a bit too much, so let's not do that. Left leg. If you take my advice, set the screen to full. I'm going to take this and position it here in the middle. Maybe scale it a bit, because it looks a bit long. How about we give 98%? The main thing is that if you imagine a circle, then this point should be in the middle of it. And let's imagine a circle here too. And in the middle of it, you have the reference, the anchor point. Let's see if the lag is okay. No. There's a bit of disconnection there. That's ugly. Let's correct it. Let's take it about here. And take this here. It's about right. And we position this as well too, to its place. This moves a bit, so that goes up, just like this. It will be great. It can move a little bit, that's not a problem. It won't matter in the animation. So like I said, it is really not that important to be precise, because when all of this changes, it won't matter. We position it about the same height as the other one. Here you can give the same values, since it will be exactly the same. This will also be 280 and 301. Here, as well, they'll get these values, and you'll be fine with the positions as well. Then you can close these. We won't need a million of compositions to be open. And then we can start the right arm states. If you remember what scale you used for the left arm, give the same numbers here. 95%. Position it and double check here as well, so it's not sliding too much. Position the first and the last especially. That's it. A little bit of sliding is okay. This might be a bit too much. Yes, just like this. It is better. Okay, we have the right arm. Well, here unfortunately, we have to do the same thing again. Let's just copy the same values, 217, 297, and put it here. Cool. It will be cool like this. Right leg. You can see the value. Scale it 98%. It will be necessary and position it the same way, to 80 to 32. Actually, we can just do this with the right leg as well. Let's make it the same. 71 to 58. This is the most professional way. We have the right leg as well, and we have the right shoe here. We have the right shoe here, which is the same situation. Let's set it to 217, and the other is 360. These are okay like this. This is more or less okay, because this is the same 3 and the same 4 layers. So they get the same values, and they get the same values as well. And everything is at its right place now. I'm going to save now, and body part. And here, you don't really need to edit anything, to be honest. It's good the way it is. The head states look completely fine. Maybe the reference point is a bit low, but it doesn't really matter with this character part, because we'll set these later. Let's give the neck the same values. Round 302. And then it won't bounce that much. I usually don't bother with this too much, to be honest. A little bit of bouncing isn't really a problem. And it won't be a problem later either. I'm gonna close the compositions. And we're actually done with the sections where the body parts are at their place in their compositions. However, compared to how the other body parts are positioned, we'll need to set that here. Scroll down here, and it will start with head position right, and stuff like that. What we started doing earlier in Photoshop, that's here, don't forget it. The reference character front. Put that in according to the pelvis. It is really important that it matches the pelvis, because we cannot really edit it. But like this way, we can move it more or less. Let's close it, but don't forget to save. Saving is really important. Then, let's click on this icon. Scroll down a bit, and let's start with the head position. We can take the quality down a bit, so it will be quicker, and it should be on off quality, so the whole thing will be a lot faster. So the head should be where the reference is. That's why it will be where it's supposed to be. Let's continue with the body, so it won't be in the way for the others. And the body will be at its place as well. Just like that. You have to move these things, and you can set everything with them. The pelvis can stay as it is, because we are positioning and working according to that. Now comes the difficult part. Since we're going to scale our character, it is important that we set our scales back. If you have done scaling, you'll always have to rebound that. We can set the value of the stretch like... Wait a second, I'll turn this off. If we start to pull this here, then the arms will stretch as well, because their length are 25% at the left arm stretch. So we need to adjust this. In order to compensate it in a positive direction, we need to set it by 10 or by 20. Just like that. Let's set the same values for the others as well. It is recommended that both arms have the same values. If, for example, at the left arm states, I had to scale this very heavily, because that's how the character is and otherwise it wouldn't fit into this composition, then you will need to give a way much bigger value. So it's not so important that the value is 95. You don't really need to bother with this, because only a little bit of distortion counts. But just to be on the safe side, let's counter it. The right hand positions are in a quite good place, but maybe we could put them a bit more out. More out and more up. Oh, but let's connect them back. And we'll do the same thing with the left arm as well. Here, everything seems to be good. But we could set the shoulders here if we wanted the hands of the character not to be so close to its body in this base stand. Then, first I push the shoulder center point, maybe this much, and then I push the arm after it. Also, I give the arm the base stand, just like that. If its hands are somewhere here, next to the body, that's perfectly fine. If we go on, we arrive to the legs. Well, here these legs should be a little bit closer to each other. I'll take the right leg and pull it a bit closer, and we'll do the same thing with the left leg. It is highly important where the tights are. Here we can see the center of it. I advise you to set the center point here, so it won't be in the way during the animation. We should always pay attention to position the legs high enough. As you can see, his leg is a bit too low. Now, put it up here, just like that. And this one too, just like that. And basically, we have the base stance of the character. Don't forget to save. So, the front view is ready. You can already use tons of animations with this. If you don't want to do so many things with your character, just 1-2 basic things, then, to be honest, we're done already. Our character has been set up. For example, you can already wave. See? He can already wave. Hello? Let's come back and deal with these stuff, because we didn't really set them. Here, we have the left hand positions. Left and right hand. It's great, just like that. But this one is kind of messed up here. You can animate this anytime if you want. Sometimes you might have problems with this. For example, if he raises his hand, it will slip down or something. You can set these here anytime when you want. Cool. Let's go back, since our character might need more views and one isn't enough. For these settings, the solution is in the icon called Reposition. So, if we set this to 3, but we can fix them immediately here in this part. Here, we can see only the arm slipped a bit away. Let's fix that really quickly. Let's go here, and since you can see we're sending in 3, we're going to pay attention to the values with 3. Head? Okay. Neck? Okay. Pelvis? Alright. Right shoulder? Isn't quite okay. Let's move it a little bit. Here. Right. It's very important that the hand should be in one place, because if the hand moved away while we were changing the character's position, that would be very ugly. We can only adjust the shoulders, to be honest. The right shoulder isn't exactly at its place. Let's fix that. Right leg, that's cool. The left leg is a nice one. The second case. Head 2. Maybe I'm gonna bring it a bit forward. Now it's a bit to the back. The neck is good. Pelvis is good. Right shoulder too. Well, we can fit it more or less in here, just like that. And also the left shoulder too. Right leg too. To be honest, it's completely up to you what you want to see or make seen. Just like that. In the first case, we can see that the head is a bit to the backside. The neck and the pelvis has slipped a bit away here, but there was a base value because this was Bob's rig. It's important that here in the X, the limbs are crossing each other. Right leg. Left leg. Right leg even more. Left leg a bit more too. And we're done with this. Number 5. This is good. Neck, okay. Pelvis too. Right shoulder. Left shoulder. The legs are good this way. Let's look at number 6. It's the head again. We should pull the head a bit forward. And the neck too. Pelvis 6. Right shoulder 6. Let's put this maybe a little bit up and a little bit back. Now. Left leg. That's good like that. Now comes the 7th. Head is okay. Neck okay. Pelvis is okay. Here, the legs should be at a bit different place. Don't forget, here everything should be like the base position. Yes, just like that. But let's jump back to number 4 and we can set up the character now. Don't get scared that here we are at the middle of the video already. Obviously, when you do it for yourself or do it for the manyth time, you will be able to set this fairly quickly. So don't be afraid of this. Let's look at a jump. Here we can see that this was a really lame jump. And cheering. Here, obviously he should lift his hands more, so it will be more expressing. Of course, we can edit this as well if we go back to the start position composition. And here, there's a setting called hands up. This is a scale that you should use very carefully. But using this makes our character to be able to lift his little hand higher. So, if we are making an animation where it is supposed to jump high and raise his hand, then of course the taller the character, the more this height will vary. If the hand is a bit stumpy, then obviously he won't lift his hands that high, but much lower. That's why we thought of this hands up solution. Ctrl, Shift, N. That's how we can look at the two videos at the same time. Here, we look at the jump. And meanwhile, in the start position, we change numbers a bit. To let's say 0.5. Here, we can see how much he raised his hand. But maybe don't need this much. Let's set this to 0.2 or maybe to 0.3. And then he'll lift it even higher. But please, be really careful with this, because with the numbers we only use decimal changes. See, now our character can lift his hands better. This setting is the one that we used here, in the character position, and this is global. And one more thing. Here you can see hand X and hand Y position fixed settings. These are solutions in case you want to change your character's hand position, because they are still a bit slid apart. This gets better a bit, but use this very carefully as well. So, these are really the things that you can edit your character with. You can use these things at any time you wish. You can edit them afterwards as well. Even if you animated them before, it could be useful. I think I've mentioned everything that could be useful here. Let's see a jump and turn around. Awesome! And let's continue with now how you can add a new animation to the already existing character. Let's go.